Ladies and gentlemen, we all come to points in our lives when we feel something is off, when something needs to change. It's easy to get stuck in the routine, to get comfortable with what we know, but let me tell you, this growth does not happen in the comfort zone. Life is meant to be lived fully, to be experienced deeply, and sometimes that requires making a big change. But how do you know when it's time to make that leap? You wake up every morning and it's the same. The excitement of the day ahead is gone. You're just going through the motions, and that spark that once drove you is now a flicker. When you're no longer inspired by your own life, it's time to seek something new. Life is too short to live without passion. Find what ignites that fire again. Stress is part of life, sure. But when it becomes your constant companion, when your body feels it, your mind is overwhelmed, and your spirit is drained, something has to change. If your current situation is contributing to your stress more than your progress, that's your signal. Stress is a warning sign that something is out of alignment. It's time to reassess, to adjust, and to take control. You've been where you are for what feels like forever. And no matter how hard you try, it's as if you can't move forward. You've hit a wall, and the harder you push, the more frustrating it gets. This sense of stagnation is telling you that it's time to explore new horizons. Stagnation is not progress, it's a signal that the current path no longer serves your growth. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If those around you are not pushing you forward, if they're not challenging you to be better, then it's time to surround yourself with a different group. You must be around people who inspire, uplift, and challenge you to be the best version of yourself. Growth happens when you're constantly learning. If you've stopped growing intellectually, emotionally, or spiritually, you're no longer on the path to becoming your best self. You're at a standstill. When learning stops, so does progress. Find new challenges, new sources of knowledge, new experiences that make you stretch. Never stop learning. It's your key to an expanded life. When your physical health starts to deteriorate, it's time to pay attention. Your body is your most valuable asset. You can't do anything else without it. If you've been neglecting your health, it's time to make changes. Eating better, exercising, sleeping more, it's time to take responsibility for your well-being. Because if you're not taking care of your health, you're not taking care of your future. Purpose is the fuel that drives us. If you wake up each day feeling like you're wandering, lost without direction, it's time to find your purpose again. Ask yourself, what am I doing all of this for? If you can't answer that with conviction, it's time to make a change. A life without purpose is like a ship without a rudder, it drifts aimlessly. Fear is a powerful emotion. It can hold you back from taking risks, from making big decisions, from stepping into the unknown. But let me tell you something, fear is the very thing that keeps us from the life we deserve. If you're afraid to change, that's exactly why you should. It's not the absence of fear that leads to success, it's the courage to act in spite of it. So my friends, these 8 signs are your signal that it's time to make a change. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for the stars to align. If you feel any of these signs, know that the time for change is now. The life you've always wanted is out there, but it requires courage, action, and the willingness to step into the unknown. Let me tell you something about inspiration. It's the fuel that keeps us moving forward. It's the spark that ignites our dreams, that drives us to be better, to do better, to create something extraordinary. But here's the truth. Inspiration isn't something that just falls into your lap. It's something that needs to be cultivated, something that you need to chase. If you're feeling uninspired, if you wake up in the morning and find yourself lacking that sense of excitement, that sense of purpose, then you need to pay attention. When inspiration fades, it's not just a sign that you're bored with your current routine, it's a signal that something is missing. It's like trying to run a car on empty. It may look fine on the outside, but there's no energy to move you forward. You can't expect life to give you inspiration on a silver platter. You have to actively seek it. Maybe you've fallen into the trap of routine, or maybe you've been stuck in a job or relationship that no longer excites you. But here's the thing, when you're uninspired, you're not just missing out on that energy. You're also missing out on growth. Without inspiration, you stop dreaming, you stop creating, you stop moving forward, you start existing, and that's never enough. Ask yourself this, when was the last time you felt genuinely excited about something? When was the last time you felt that rush of creativity, that hunger to learn and grow? If it's been a while, don't just accept it. That's not living. That's surviving. It's time to look around and find what fuels your spirit again. Is it a new project, a new goal, a new challenge? Inspiration isn't a passive experience, it's something you have to chase. If you're not feeling inspired, it's time to make a change. Go Go after something new. Do something you've never done before. Put yourself in new environments. Meet new people. Try new things. Find something that makes your heart race again. Because let me tell you, when you're inspired, nothing is impossible. You wake up with energy. You go to bed with a sense of accomplishment. You take action because you believe in the possibility of what you can create. But if you're uninspired, you're just going through the motions. And life is too short to go through the motions. So if you're feeling uninspired, take it as a challenge, not a setback. Use it as the motivation to find what excites you, what challenges you, what makes you come alive. Inspiration is out there waiting for you. All you have to do is go after it. Let me tell you, stress can be one of the greatest thieves of your life. It steals your peace, it robs you of your energy, and it drains your motivation. We all experience stress. It's part of life. It's part of growth. But when you're constantly in a state of stress, when it becomes your default setting, that's when you have to stop and ask yourself, is this the life I really want to be living? You see, stress isn't just a mental or emotional burden. It's a physical one too. It shows up in your body, tight muscles, headaches, lack of sleep, poor digestion. And let me tell you, when your body is out of balance, nothing else works the way it's supposed to. Your mind gets foggy, your energy plummets, and your relationships begin to suffer. If stress is taking over, everything in your life is going to feel like it's operating in a state of chaos. Now, I'm not saying you won't face challenges. Life is full of them, and challenges are the things that build us, that make us stronger. But there's a difference between dealing with a stressful situation and living in constant stress. The key here is control. Stress is manageable when you can step back, look at the situation, and take control of what's within your power to change. But when you're constantly reacting to every little thing, when you're in a state of perpetual tension, you've lost control, and that's where the real problem lies. And let me remind you, stress is not just about work or responsibilities. It's about how you respond to life itself. It's about how you manage your emotions, your thoughts, your expectations. When you're overwhelmed by stress, it's often because your life is out of alignment with your values, your goals, or your true purpose. And when that happens, your stress isn't just about what's on your plate, it's about a deeper disconnect between where you are and where you want to be. If you find yourself constantly overwhelmed, always feeling like you're running on empty, it's time to pause and evaluate. What are the sources of your stress? Is it your job, your relationships, your finances, or your own habits and mindset? We all have stress, but it's your job to recognize when it's not just a passing feeling, it's a signal that something in your life needs to change. Now, I want you to understand something important. You are in control of your stress. No, you may not be able to control everything around you, but you can control your responses. If your life is filled with stress, you have the power to change that. You can decide what to eliminate, what to adjust, and what to prioritize. Start with the small things. Take a deep breath, step back, and assess the situation. Look at your schedule. Are you overcommitted? Are you holding on to things that are draining your energy instead of fueling it? Do you need to say no more often? Maybe you need to learn how to delegate, to create space for yourself, to let go of the unnecessary pressures you've placed on your own shoulders. But more than anything, you need to learn how to manage your mind. Because stress often starts up here in your thoughts. How you perceive the world around you, how you react to challenges, how you handle your emotions, these are all under your control. The way you think about your life, your work, your goals, these things shape your experience. If you constantly think that everything is too much, too hard, too overwhelming, that's exactly how it will feel. But when you change your perspective, when you take responsibility for your thoughts and actions, stress loses its grip. Remember, this stress is not a life sentence. It's a signal that you need to reassess, readjust, and take action. Stress may be a part of your journey, but it doesn't have to control your path. If you're constantly in a state of stress, it's time to take a step back, regain control, and shift your approach to life. You have the power to create a life of balance, peace, and fulfillment. It's not about eliminating stress entirely, but about learning how to navigate through it, how to manage it, and how to turn it into a force for growth instead of a burden. Let me ask you this. Have you ever felt like you're spinning your wheels, putting in all your effort but not getting anywhere? You're busy but not productive. You're working hard but not making progress. You wake up, go through the motions, and go to bed, only to find that you're in the exact same place you were the day before. If you're feeling stuck, you're not alone. It happens to everyone at some point in their life. But here's the thing, feeling stuck is not a permanent condition, it's a sign. It's a signal that something needs to change. And the sooner you recognize it, the sooner you can break free. Being stuck doesn't necessarily mean that your life is falling apart. It's not about dramatic failures or crises. Often it's much more subtle than that. You might be in a job you don't enjoy, in a relationship that isn't fulfilling, or just going through life without a sense of direction. You feel like you're not moving forward, like your potential is untapped, like there's more to life than this. And when you're stuck, it's easy to convince yourself that this is just how things are, that this is your reality. But I'm here to tell you this is not your reality unless you choose to accept it. When you're stuck, it's not about external circumstances as much as it is about your mindset. It's about your willingness to change, to take responsibility for where you are, and to make the tough decisions needed to move forward. It's about realizing that your current situation is a result of the choices you've made up until now, and the good news is that you can change the direction you're heading. But first, you have to acknowledge that being stuck is a signal, not a sentence. So why does this happen? Why do we get stuck in the first place? A lot of times it's because we get comfortable. The human mind doesn't like change. It likes familiarity. It likes routine. It likes knowing what to expect. Even if that routine isn't fulfilling, it's easier to stay in a situation that feels safe than to face the discomfort of change. But here's what you need to understand. Comfort is the enemy of growth. If you're comfortable, you're not growing. And if you're not growing, you're not living the life you were meant to live. When you're stuck, you have two choices. You can stay where you are and accept that this is your life, or you can make a decision to take action. You can choose to break free. And let me tell you, the moment you decide to take control, to break out of that stuck place, is the moment everything changes. It doesn't matter if you don't know exactly how to do it. The important thing is making the decision to move, to step out of the stagnant water and into the river of progress. It starts with a shift in your thinking. Instead of focusing on why you're stuck, start asking yourself how you can get unstuck. Start asking, what can I do today that will move me in the direction I want to go? It might be a small step. It might be something as simple as picking up a new skill, having a difficult conversation, or setting a new goal. But the key is to take action. When you take action, you break the cycle of inertia. You move from passive acceptance to active engagement with your life. The more you take action, the more momentum you build. You start to see results, even if they're small at first. And those small results will lead to bigger ones. The path won't always be easy, but the reward for taking the first step is the realization that you are no longer stuck. You're moving forward, and that's what matters. So if you're feeling stuck right now, recognize it for what it is, a signal that change is needed. You're not a victim of your circumstances unless you choose to be. You have the power to change your situation, but it starts with the decision to act. Break free from the routine, step into the unknown, and begin the journey of growth and progress. The life you want is waiting for you, but it requires you to move. Don't let the feeling of being stuck keep you from the life you're meant to live. Make the choice, take the first step, and watch your world start to shift. Let me tell you something that may seem hard to hear, but it's the truth. The people you surround yourself with have an enormous impact on who you become. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If your circle isn't encouraging your growth, if they aren't challenging you to be better, to think bigger, to take action, then it's time to take a hard look at who you're allowing into your life. Now, I'm not saying you should cut people out for the sake of cutting them out. But I am saying that if you want to grow, if you want to elevate your life, you need to be around people who push you, who hold you accountable, and who inspire you to reach for more. The people in your life should not just be there to agree with you or give you a pat on the back when you've done something halfway. They should be there to challenge you, to call you higher, to help you become the best version of yourself. Think about it for a moment. When you spend time with people who don't push you, who don't inspire you, who don't challenge you to think differently, how do you feel? Most likely you feel stagnant. You feel like you're not moving forward. You start to settle. You become comfortable. And comfort, my friend, is the enemy of growth. The truth is, we are all influenced by the people around us. Whether we admit it or not, their attitudes, their actions, and their beliefs seep into our own. If you're spending most of your time with people who are negative, who are stuck in their own comfort zones, or who have no ambition to grow themselves, then it's no wonder you feel like you're not progressing. You are absorbing their mindset, and that mindset is keeping you from reaching your full potential. But on the other hand, when you're surrounded by people who are ambitious, who are striving to improve, who are constantly learning, you feel the pull to do the same. You feel the desire to become better, to do more, to think bigger. This kind of environment doesn't just motivate you, it forces you to raise your standards, to elevate your thinking, and to take your actions to the next level. So here's the key: if your circle isn't encouraging your growth, it's time to find a new circle. That doesn't mean you have to abandon your old friends or family, but you do need to seek out people who are on the same journey of personal development. Find mentors who are where you want to be. Find peers who are striving for the same things. And if necessary, put some distance between yourself and the people who are holding you back. I know it's hard, but sometimes you have to be willing to let go of the relationships that no longer serve your growth. Look at your circle today. Are they lifting you up, challenging you, and encouraging you to be the best version of yourself? Or are they holding you back, settling for mediocrity and keeping you in the same place you've always been? If the answer isn't the first, then it's time to make a change. It's time to surround yourself with people who will help you grow. You need to be around people who are not afraid to challenge you, to hold you accountable, to push you out of your comfort zone, and to celebrate your wins along the way. These are the people who will help you become the person you are truly meant to be. Understand this: your future is shaped by the people you choose to spend your time with. If your circle isn't pushing you forward, it's time to build a new one. Your growth depends on it. And trust me, when you start surrounding yourself with the right people, people who encourage, uplift, and challenge you, you'll be amazed at how quickly your life begins to change. So go out there, find your new circle, and let them help you become the best version of yourself. Let me tell you something: if you're not learning, you're not growing. It's that simple. Life doesn't stand still. The world doesn't wait for you to catch up. If you stop learning, if you stop seeking new knowledge, new skills, new perspectives, you're falling behind. And the sad truth is, most people don't even realize this until it's too late. They get comfortable, they stop pushing themselves, and before they know it, they're stuck in the same place they've always been. Learning isn't just about formal education or books, it's about growing, expanding, and becoming better. It's about adapting to the changing world around you, improving your mindset, learning new ways to tackle challenges, and sharpening the tools you need to create the life you want. Without it, you become complacent. And complacency is the enemy of success. Now, think about this: when was the last time you really learned something new? I'm not talking about watching a video for entertainment or skimming through an article for a few minutes. I'm talking about truly immersing yourself in something that stretches your mind, that forces you to think differently, that challenges your understanding of the world. Learning should feel uncomfortable at times, because when you're stretching your limits, you're bound to feel some resistance. If you're not learning anymore, it means you've stopped growing. And if you've stopped growing, you've stopped living to your fullest potential. It's not just about accumulating knowledge, it's about applying that knowledge in your life, in your decisions, in your work, and in your relationships. You see, knowledge without action is pointless. But when you learn, you have the power to change. You have the ability to evolve, to improve, to take the next step toward the person you're meant to become. When you stop learning, you stop seeing the possibilities. You stop questioning the status quo. You start to think that the way things are today is the way they'll always be. But the truth is, your future is determined by what you choose to learn and apply today. Every new idea you absorb is a key to unlocking something greater. Every skill you master gives you a tool to create the life you envision. Every book you read, every conversation you have, every new experience you take in expands your potential. Ask yourself, are you growing or are you coasting? If you're not actively seeking new knowledge or better ways to do things, then you're simply existing. And let me tell you, just existing is not enough. You were made for more. The world needs your potential. So if you found yourself in a place where learning has become optional, where you're no longer hungry for new ideas or ways to improve, let me tell you, it's time to wake up. You have so much more to discover. You have so many more abilities you haven't tapped into yet. The moment you decide to reignite that hunger for learning, your entire life changes. You start to see new opportunities, new ways to solve problems, new paths that lead you to where you want to go. The good news is, it's never too late to start learning again. Pick up a book, listen to a podcast, take a course, find a mentor, do whatever it takes to get your mind working again, to get your curiosity flowing. It's time to push past the comfort zone and embrace the discomfort of growth. Learning isn't just something you do in school, it's something you do for life. Your potential is limitless, but only if you keep learning. If you're not learning anymore, it's time to start. The world is full of information, full of opportunities, full of ways to grow. So don't wait any longer. Take that first step and remember that your future depends on your commitment to learn today. Let me tell you something: your health is your most valuable asset. Without it, nothing else really matters. You can have all the money, all the success, and all the recognition in the world, but if your health is declining, everything else will eventually fade away. And I'll tell you, the first step to success is to recognize that without good health, you're not truly living. Your body is the vehicle that carries you through life, and if that vehicle is running on empty or breaking down, you won't be able to achieve the things you're capable of. It's easy to take your health for granted, especially when you're young or when things seem to be fine on the surface. But let me tell you, health is something you have to invest in every single day. The food you eat, the exercise you do or don't do, the way you manage stress, how much rest you get, and how you take care of your mental health, it all matters. It all adds up. You see, when you start neglecting your health, it's like ignoring the maintenance on a car. You can drive it for a while, but eventually the engine starts sputtering, the tires wear down, and before long it breaks down completely. You might think you can keep going without paying attention to your health, but eventually your body will catch up with you. It will start sending you signals. Maybe it's tiredness, maybe it's aches and pains, maybe it's weight gain or loss of energy, but the warning signs are always there. Now, you may be thinking, I don't have time for this. I'm too busy to worry about health right now. I understand that it's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life. But let me ask you this. What's the point of all the work, all the effort, and all the striving if you don't have the energy, the vitality, or the health to enjoy it? What's the point of building wealth or achieving success if you can't physically be there to enjoy the fruits of your labor? Your health isn't something you can ignore for long. It will catch up with you, and when it does, it often comes at a high cost. And I don't just mean money, though healthcare costs can certainly drain your finances. I mean the cost in terms of lost time, lost quality of life, and missed opportunities. When you're not physically well, everything becomes harder, work is harder, relationships are harder, even enjoying the simple pleasures of life becomes harder. But here's the good news, it's never too late to take control of your health. No matter where you are in life, you can always make a change. Start with small, consistent steps. It doesn't take a complete overhaul of your life to make a big impact. It starts with making better choices every day. Instead of hitting the snooze button, get up and stretch. Instead of reaching for junk food, reach for something that nourishes your body. Instead of skipping your workout, take a walk around the block. It doesn't matter how small the step is, what matters is that you take it. And don't fool yourself into thinking that your health doesn't matter. Because I'll tell you, the moment your health starts to decline, you realize how quickly everything else becomes secondary. Without good health, nothing else works. So take a moment to assess where you are. Are you taking care of your body the way you should? Are you eating right? Are you exercising? Are you managing stress? If not, it's time to take action. The good news is that it's all in your hands. You have the power to change your habits, to take charge of your health, and to create a lifestyle that supports your well-being. Don't wait for the warning signs to become something bigger. Don't wait for the wake-up call that forces you to act. Start today. Start with one small change. And remember, your health is the foundation upon which everything else in your life is built. When you invest in your health today, you're ensuring that you'll have the energy, the strength, and the vitality to create the life you want tomorrow. Don't take it for granted. Your health is the key to everything. Let me ask you something. Do you wake up in the morning with a sense of excitement, with a clear sense of direction, with a purpose that pulls you forward? If not, then let me tell you this, losing your sense of purpose is one of the most dangerous things that can happen in life. When you've lost your sense of purpose, it's like trying to drive a car without a destination. You're moving, but you're not getting anywhere. And that's a tough place to be because when you don't know where you're going, everything starts to feel meaningless. You start to question why you do what you do, why you put in the effort, why you keep moving forward. And without that sense of purpose, you can easily start to lose your motivation, your passion, and ultimately your drive. You see, purpose is what gives life meaning. It's what makes you excited to get up in the morning, to tackle challenges, to work towards something greater than yourself. Purpose is the fuel that keeps you going through tough times. It's what gets you out of bed when everything else seems uncertain. Without it, everything feels like a struggle, like you're just going through the motions, checking boxes, living a life that doesn't truly excite you. It's a dangerous place because the longer you stay there, the more you forget what it feels like to feel truly alive, truly engaged, truly on fire for something. Now, I want you to think about this for a moment. What would it look like if you had a clear sense of purpose? Think about the energy you would have. Think about the clarity. Think about how it would change the way you approach your work, your relationships, your day-to-day life. When you have a sense of purpose, you're not just living, you're thriving. You're driven by something bigger than yourself. You know exactly why you're doing what you're doing, and every step you take is aligned with that greater vision. But when you've lost that sense of purpose, everything starts to feel like a grind. You might be putting in the work, but there's no passion behind it. You might be getting by, but you're not growing. You're not living up to your full potential. And that's where many people get stuck. The good news is, it doesn't have to stay that way. You can rediscover your purpose, but you need to be intentional about it. You need to take the time to reflect on what truly matters to you. What excites you? What drives you? What do you want your life to stand for? These are questions you need to ask yourself and then listen to the answers. When you start asking yourself the right questions, you open up the possibility of finding new opportunities, new directions, and new passions that can reignite that fire within you. But rediscovering your purpose isn't just about daydreaming about what you want to do in the future. It's about taking action. It's about setting goals that are in alignment with that purpose and then working toward them every day. Purpose is not a passive thing. It's an active force that drives you forward. When you know what you're working for, you're willing to put in the effort. You're willing to face the challenges. You're willing to sacrifice. But all of it becomes worth it because you have that sense of meaning, that reason for doing it. And here's another important thing to remember. Your purpose doesn't have to be something grand or world-changing. It doesn't need to look like anyone else's purpose. Your purpose might be to build a family, to help others, to create something new, to live a life of integrity and kindness. Your purpose might be in your career, in your relationships, or in your community. The key is that it's something that gives your life meaning, something that aligns with your values and your passions. If you've lost your sense of purpose, I want you to know it's not gone forever. You have the power to rediscover it, to reignite that spark. Start by getting clear on what matters most to you, what you want to contribute to the world, and what kind of person you want to become. Then take deliberate action. Don't wait for the perfect moment, because that moment may never come. The purpose you seek is found in the actions you take. Each step forward brings you closer to the life you want. And remember, your purpose is always evolving. As you grow, as you experience new things, as you change, your purpose will shift too. That's a beautiful thing because it means you're always on a journey of self-discovery, always moving closer to your true calling. But if you ever find yourself without direction, without purpose, know this, it's not the end. It's simply a reminder that it's time to refocus, to reconnect, and to reignite your drive. Get clear on your purpose, take action, and let it fuel every part of your life. Because when you live with purpose, you live with passion, and that's when life truly becomes an adventure worth pursuing. Let me ask you something. What is fear holding you back from? I'll tell you what it's holding you back from: growth, success, opportunity. And most importantly, it's holding you back from becoming the person you were meant to be. Fear of change is one of the most powerful forces in life. It convinces you that staying where you are, even if it's uncomfortable, is safer than stepping into the unknown. But let me tell you, fear of change is the biggest lie you can tell yourself. Because what's on the other side of fear is growth. What's on the other side of change is opportunity. Now, change is uncomfortable. It's supposed to be. Change forces you to step out of the familiar. And let's face it, the familiar feels safe even when it's not serving you. But here's the truth: growth does not happen in your comfort zone. Nothing new, nothing amazing, nothing great ever came from someone staying stuck in the same place, doing the same things, thinking the same way. If you want your life to improve, you have to be willing to change. Fear of change shows up in many forms. It might sound like this: what if I fail? What if it doesn't work? What if I make the wrong decision? And I'll tell you, those thoughts are natural. It's human to feel that way. But you know what? Those thoughts are not the truth. They are just stories you've been telling yourself. Fear is simply a mental habit, a protective mechanism that your mind creates to keep you from doing something unfamiliar. But you have to understand this, that fear is lying to you. When you allow fear of change to take control, you rob yourself of the potential for greatness. Think about it. Every successful person, every person who has achieved anything worthwhile, has had to face the fear of change. They've had to make decisions that felt uncertain. They've had to step into the unknown without a guarantee of success. But they did it anyway because they knew that change is where growth lies. So why do we stay afraid of change? Because at the core, we don't like uncertainty. We like knowing what's coming next. We like control. But here's the reality: life doesn't come with guarantees. No matter what you do, there's always some level of risk, some level of uncertainty. The question is, are you willing to take that risk? Are you willing to step into the unknown, knowing that the rewards on the other side are far greater than the temporary discomfort of change? Let me give you some perspective. The only way you can truly fail is by not trying at all. And when you don't try, when you don't change, when you don't take risks, you are choosing to live a life of missed opportunities, a life of regret. A life of what ifs. Do you really want to look back years from now and say, I wish I had taken that chance, I hope not? Don't let fear steal your future. Change is where the magic happens. When you decide to face that fear head on, you're not just changing your circumstances, you're changing yourself. You're developing resilience. You're becoming someone who can face challenges and rise above them. You're building a mindset that's unshakable. And once you make the decision to change, once you commit to pushing through that fear, you'll realize that it wasn't as scary as you thought. In fact, it's exhilarating. It's liberating. Because the greatest rewards in life come from taking action despite the fear. Now, I want you to think about this for a moment. What is it that you've been avoiding? What change have you been afraid to make? What dream have you been putting off because the fear of the unknown has been louder than your desire for success? That thing you're afraid of might just be the breakthrough you need. On the other side of your fear is your next level. It's the next version of you, the version that can accomplish more, live with more purpose, and create the life you truly want. Here's the secret to overcoming fear of change. Don't wait for the fear to disappear. Take action in spite of it. The more you step into the unknown, the more you face your fears, the more your confidence will grow. You'll realize that fear is nothing more than a feeling, and feelings don't control you unless you let them. So if you're afraid of change right now, I want to encourage you to do one thing. Take that first step. Just one, even if it's small. It's time to stop letting fear dictate your life. The moment you step through that fear, you'll find that the world opens up in ways you never imagined. The opportunities you thought were out of reach will come into focus. And most importantly, you'll be on your way to living the life you were always meant to live. Change is waiting for you. Your future is waiting for you. Don't let fear stop you from stepping into the life you deserve.